Hi, it's Jan Yuvon. Here's a yoga sequence to help your body recover after a bike ride. The first one we're going to do is a hip flexor stretch. So you're going to come to standing on your knees, right? So if you have knee sensitivity, definitely place a blanket under them so the knees can feel comfortable. And then bring your right foot forward, right? So let your right ankle be a little bit forward of the knee. Your right hand is going to go on top of the knee. Your left arm is just going to dangle at your side. So as you inhale, let the hips come forward and then let that left arm extend up overhead so my torso stays vertical. The hips are pressing forward. That's going to stretch that hip flexor, yeah, as the arm reaches up towards the ceiling. And then we'll exhale back. And again, inhale, come forward. Exhale back. One more time, inhaling forward. Good. Exhale back. Then bring both your hands on top of that right knee, and as you press the hips forward, again, keeping the torso vertical, take some nice deep breaths. Notice if there's any holding here in the hips that you can begin to release and allow the stretch to happen. Don't go too deeply into the stretch, but allow the stretch to happen, and relax your shoulders. And then as you bring the hips back, we're going to come into a little hamstring stretch. So take a couple of blocks for balance if you need it, right? We're going to extend the leg out straight in front. So I want to make sure my leg is extending straight out in front of my hip, yeah? Toes curling back. I'm going to hinge from the hips, not bending and rounding at the waist, but hinging forward. The upper body stays elongated. So if you're feeling wobbly and out of balance, go ahead and use the blocks. Place your hands either on the blocks, or if you can reach the mat, you can place your hands on the mat. Take some nice deep breaths. See if you can begin to draw that right hip back a little bit towards the back wall to make sure that the hips are squared up with each other. You'll see how that changes the stretch a little bit as well. And then release it and come back to upright, other leg. So start again with the knee bent and the foot flat on the mat or the floor, your ankle a little bit forward of the knee. Left hand on the knee, right arm is dangling at your side. Inhale, press your hips forward, let that arm come up overhead. Again, keeping the torso vertical, yeah? And then exhale back. And inhale forward. And exhale back. One more time, inhaling forward. And exhale back. And then bring both your hands on that left knee as you press the hips forward. Hold the stretch. Again, get a good stretch. See if you can begin to relax into the stretch. But again, don't go too deeply into it. See if you can relax your shoulders. Take nice deep breaths. And then bring the hips back, straighten out that front leg, now curl the toes back. So again, we're going to be hinging forward. Again, notice if that leg is kind of winged out to the side a little bit, draw it so it's extending straight out in front of the hip. And as you hinge forward, letting the upper body extend forward as you come into the hamstring stretch again. Hands can stay at your waist, or if you're feeling wobbly, hands to the blocks or your mat. Again, nice deep breaths, and you don't need to max out on the hamstring stretch either. Let there be a sensation there, but back off from your edge. That's going to give that muscle permission to release more. And then come on back to upright. And come back onto both your knees. From here, we're going to come to standing. We're going to come into a little wide leg forward fold. So I'm going to take the blanket out of the way for now. And have a strap handy. Anything works, any kind of strap will do the trick. What we're going to be doing is coming into a wide leg forward fold with the hands behind the back. So if you've got tightness in the shoulders, you're going to want to use the strap. So I'm going to do it twice for you, once without the strap and once with. So first of all, getting a nice strong base, right? Let the feet be nice and wide apart, as wide as you can comfortably get them, okay? And the heels are turned out. So the feet a little bit pigeon toes. That's going to help release the low back, right? So my hands are going to clasp behind my back. I'm going to straighten the arms if I can, opening my chest, lifting the heart, and then hinging at the hip crease and letting the upper body extend forward. Now I'm letting the arms reach and extend up overhead. Taking nice deep breaths here and allowing that opening to happen in the front of the shoulders. This feels so good if the shoulders are tight after a bike ride. Now to come back up, I'm going to begin to turn my gaze forward. I'm slowly coming to upright with a straight spine, yeah? Not rounding. Good. And then I'm going to release the hands. So again, if you're going to use a strap, I like to start with my hands about hip width on the strap. You can always slide them further out, but start them out here. And then again, hinging forward. If you didn't use the strap the first time, use it the second time. It's going to give you even more opening in the shoulders. Just be careful that you don't go too far with it. But again, letting the crown reach down towards the mat and let that opening happen in the shoulders. Breathing. And then slowly draw your upper body back to upright. Nice. And from here, go ahead, heel toe your feet back together. From here, we're going to come into a quad stretch. This is my favorite quad stretch because it really allows me to isolate that quadricep. I'm going to put a blanket against a wall and use a couple of blocks. So I'm bringing my right shin up the wall, right? And my left leg is going to be in front of me here, right, to start. My hands are going to be on the blocks. So my shin is right up against the wall. So my knee is up against the wall, and it's also sitting on the blanket for some cushion, yeah? But I want it to be vertical. And then I want to bring that right hip right in front of the shin, yeah? So my hips are squared up to the front. This might be enough stretch for you. If you feel like you can come a little bit further, you can try coming into a more of a lunge, bringing that left foot forward. That's going to intensify things here. And then you can start to play with bringing the torso more to upright. Maybe you're going to bring the blocks a little bit further up. The hips pressing back, the torso coming to vertical. Whew. Really nice stretch for the quad. So I'm drawing the pubis up, right, the belly in a little bit. So I'm helping to protect my lumbar here. So I'm not kind of collapsing and crashing into the lumbar, letting it pinch, right? I'm drawing in and up in the belly. So I'm helping to create some length in the lumbar, isolating the quad. And then coming forward, I'm rotating my torso to the right, my shin to the left to come out. And then other side. Again, you can begin with the leg that's not being stretched. The knee can be on the ground, and it might stay there. This might be enough quad stretch for you, right? Make sure the hips are squared up, yeah? That left hip right in front of the shin. That shin that's on the wall is vertical. And again, if it's there for you, you can try to come into the lunge, right? And then beginning to bring the torso to upright. That's going to intensify the stretch. Some of you maybe will come all the way up and bring the hands onto the top of the knee. Keep breathing. Remember, stabilize and protect your low back here. Activate these core muscles. Relax your shoulders. Good, release it, come on out. After a bike ride, as part of the recovery phase, I like to come into a restorative inversion. Legs up the wall pose is wonderful. These inversions help the body to drain the fluids out of the leg, the lactic acid and other stuff that might be pooling in the legs by just using gravity. So I'm scooching my butt up close to the wall, right, sitting sideways. And then as I let my torso come out, I'm rotating and then letting the legs come up the wall. How far away from the wall you are depends on how tight your hamstrings are. If you have tight hamstrings, let your butt be further away from the wall. Don't worry about it. It doesn't have to be against the wall. Some people like to have the back flat on the mat or on the floor. I like to bring a blanket under the sacrum or the low back. I actually like to bring it up a little bit higher so my tailbone tilts down. If that's an issue for you, you can bring the blanket a little bit lower by the sacrum, closer to your tailbone, if that's more comfortable for you. And you'll stay in legs up the wall pose for at least 5 minutes, as long as the body wants. Really, your body is going to tell you when it wants to come out of the posture. So stay here as long as it's comfortable. but at least 5 minutes to give the body a chance to start to drain the fluids out of the legs.